How's it going, everybody? I've been wanting to make this video for a little while, but wanted to wait and see kind of the week one updates and where they were going to take this game. I mean, everyone's talking about it right now, Pokemon Pocket. I was actually excited to try it out and see if they're offering something new, what it actually is. And honestly, I'm glad I waited just a bit because my initial notes on my initial reaction has changed a bit, honestly, here in the past week from some things that they've released and updates. Um, this is going to be, my overall honest review and feedback. I'm going to try to make it a little, quick and not go over every single thing in detail because there's already a ton of videos on that, but more so talk about if I think it's worth getting into and what I think the pros and cons are and where I see this heading. It is exciting to have something else for the Pokemon TCG community, and all in all, it's a little bit more of that, but we'll hop right into it. So the first things first, you'll see that this is the basic interface. It's pretty stripped down. This is your home screen. You've got only 3 packs available right now. This is the first set that they're releasing. Um, You've got, a collection area where it talks about the cards that you have. You can make binders on here. You can create display boards. It's really just to show off the cards that you have and show off your profile. There's also a social area where they have friends. They have showcasing the item or showcasing cards. They also have a trade section, which is something that's been desperately missing from PTCGL for a long time. That is nice to see that they're at least thinking about it here. And then they have a battle section. Now, previously, this was just solo events, and then versus random matches online. They've added, as you can see here, it says events underway. There's quite a bit that they've added here in terms of gameplay this current week, and so we'll go over that in a bit as well. And then you also have your deck area where you can create your decks, very similar to Pokemon TCG if you're familiar with that. And there's also this tab missions, which is kind of like your daily missions. There's different things that you can complete and collect different currencies. It is very similar to other mobile gacha games where there's a different set of currencies that you can have. You see all these timers on the screen. There's basically you're allowed 1 pack opening per 12 hours, I believe it is. You can get different currencies to expedite that. The game's very centered around open a bunch of packs, get a bunch of points, come to the store every day to do that. There's also a thing called Wonder Pick. So let's talk a little bit about the collection side of things before we dive into opening packs and things like that, because that side gets a little bit more complex, right? So basically this side just shows you all the cards that you have. You can sort through it. You can look at it on a Pokedex entry, see the different cards that you have. The only other thing that they have in here that you can do with your actual collection is you can do what's called obtaining a flare, which basically just gives you a holographic version of that card, and you need to have a certain amount of cards to trade for it. And this Stardust, I have 6,000 Stardust. I don't really see running out of that because there's not another way to spend it other than these flares currently. But this is how you basically make your cards holographic and shiny. It's a cool little addition. Be able to, if you got a card that you really like, to be able to spruce it up. The only downside is it requires multiple versions of the same card. So if I go in here and I show you, for example, I go to the duplicates tab, I sort the other way, you'll see I have 7 of these Petalils and I'm able to obtain a flare here. Um, Basically, it just adds the shininess to it. The only downside is that you don't really get to pick which ones you get multiple of. So even if, let's say, this Paris is your favorite card, you might only have one of them, and you're not able to add the flare to it. So it would be nice to see the ability to do that. There's this binder section, which is just like having a binder. You can put cards together. I have one here for different shiny cards that I have. It doesn't really have much use other than something to look at. But when this game first came out, there was a lot of things in here that didn't have much use, and they started to add some features that give me a little bit of hope that they're really thinking about this in a deeper way, and they're going to be adding more and more features. So we have the binder section, and then there's also this display boards, which just is you can just create little display boards of the cards that you like. Both a binder and a display board can be shown on your profile, so you set them here, and you can see here's like the display board and the binder that I have here. So when someone comes to your profile, they can see those. So that's kind of cool. That's pretty much it with the collecting side things. You also have the decks, which we should talk about on the battle side. So you're able to build decks. They give you theme decks. They also give you they try to make it really simple where you can auto build a deck based on type, for example, and it thinks about what the best cards are and builds it. I will say auto building isn't that great. It's good for if you're just starting out and you don't know what to do with the cards that you've collected. I mean, that brings me to another point in that you don't really have a choice over what cards you're getting. So when you start, you really just build decks based on what you are getting. I got decently lucky here in the beginning where I pulled these two Articunos, and there's decks that are based around just having those two Pokemon. So then I worked on filling out the rest of the deck, and it plays pretty well. Um, the other thing to go over, one of the main points of content currently is these missions, right? I've already done the one for the day, but they have a daily mission. The downside to the daily missions is they're pretty bland. It's just log in, open a pack, etc. And you can only do 3 of them. You're gonna do that every day within 5 seconds. It would be nice to see a little bit of variety here. Use a lightning deck, use this, use that. I do have hope that they're going to add that. There's also Dex missions, which is just registering more cards. Overall, my biggest gripe with the missions is they're pretty bland right now. Just collect this card, and you get access to this rental deck. I will say they have started to do these events, which gives me a little bit of hope for the missions. So, for example, today they unveiled this emblem event, which I'll go over in the versus side. But they added missions for it, which, yeah, they're still pretty bland. Win battles is pretty straightforward, but it's nice that they're adding some more. I've also got the free trial of premium just so I can get a better idea of what it looks like. And again, these are a little bit more diverse, like collect different types of cards, but it's still very much similar. Collect, login, fight, etc. There's not a lot of variety to it. Not if this is Mewtwo's premium mission set for 23 days, maybe they should have done an event where you have to use one of Mewtwo's attack or collect a Mewtwo card, etc. They don't have a ton of that yet, but I am hopeful that they'll come out with that. There's also missions here in themed collections, which is basically collect these type of cards, right? So there's Electabuzz and Magmar. Get Electabuzz and Magmar, and you get rewards. First choice, get Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander. You get rewards. There's some hidden ones in here that other people have gone over. If you collect all 151 of the base Pokedex Pokemon, then you'll unlock a Mew, for example. That's a hidden one. So that's cool. They do have tabs here for expansions, right? So this shows this is the first set, so they are planning more sets. So I'm going to give them a little bit of leeway on how basic it is now and hope that they add more. But that'll bring me into let's talk about like opening packs now, for example. So I've already opened my pack for today. When you have the premium, you get 2 extra pack openings. There's a couple of other things that come with premium, but that's pretty much it. So let's go into here, and I'll use some of this currency to open it. We're gonna open a Pikachu deck. Pikachu pack. Each pack has some different card options. You'll notice here you also get points for opening packs, and you can purchase specific cards. I like to see this because it lets you get things that it's not completely random. I will say it's a lot of points to be able to open these. For example, you get 5 pack points for each pack. To get this Venusaur EX, you would need to open 100 packs. That's a little excessive to me. Would be nice to be able to like trade some cards for these points as well. Do something to be able to build out your deck a little bit easier. But let's go into this. So I do not have an opening, but you'll see if I click here to open pack, it'll say I can use these hourglass items, right? You can get these through the missions. You can also buy them in the store. That's pretty much the only way that you can get them right now is missions and store. But you will get a decent amount. You see I have 58 here. I think I just held on to them for 2 days without opening. So, there's a wheel. I don't think that this has much to do with anything. You can spin it around. I have an assumption that when you open this, it immediately knows what cards you're going to get, and this is just for show. So you open the pack like that, and then you go through the cards that you get, right? Each one has different rarities. you're really hoping to get, for example, this is a new card I don't have in the Pokedex, so I'm happy with this opening. You'll see it'll say, here's the card you got. We got a mission, and then it'll ask you to add it to the Pokedex. Another gripe that I have is this part is a little annoying. Every time you open a pack, you have to click 12 buttons to get to the next one. So even if you're skipping, you still have to skip 4 times of all of these animations. It'd be nice to disable some of that, or have like a skip all button. So for example, we can go back, we can open a different type. You saw our pack points went up. We can open a different type of pack. Use this currency again. It skips open to opening time, and this will be a different set of cards. So if you like opening packs, you'll be able to do a lot of that in Pokemon Pocket. You can tell that they really geared this towards the actual opening. That's a cool card, cool pool. They really geared it towards open a bunch of cards, have fun opening the cards, and then really wait to open more. So here I can skip, but you see every time it does this animation to add all your cards in, you can skip. For example, I have the shiny binder. I'd come in here and I would add that pincer into this shiny binder. So you come in here, you edit, go all the way down. Oops. They have a lot of search capability, which is nice to see already built in. There you go. Now it's added to the binder. I would like to see this being able to be reordered without having to remove the items. There's no real way to reorder it. But that's basically opening packs in a nutshell. There's also this Wonder Pick situation going on here, which is very similar. We get a bonus pick every day for free. You get 5 items. They get randomized, and you pick one at random. Again, there's a lot of animations and load time in some of these that would be nice to skip a little bit if you're more interested in the battling side of things, because these are actions you're going to have to take every day if you want to build up your deck. But you see here there's a bunch of different options for you to wonder pick from, right? So you notice this cost of 1 looks like every single one here. Well, this is 2. So when there are better cards, the cost goes up. When there is, an EX or a full art, that will be 3, which I don't see any here. You also have some expired ones that you're able to restore with the stopwatch item. But let's take an example here of this Charizard pack. So again, I don't have a wonder pick for another 7 hours, but I have these hourglasses, so I'm able to recover the stamina, use the item, get another wonder pick. It does just what we just saw with that Meowth pack, where it randomizes the cards and you pick one. And I don't have an Erica, so that's a good one to grab. So all in all, it's pretty basic. You're just trying to grab cards. The wonder pick, you're usually just looking for things you want and hoping you get it. There's not really any strategy into it. It's just wonder pick random times. You can send friend requests and thanks people. One thing that also happens when you get thanked, there's a gift section up here on the top right. I don't know if I have any here right now, but you'll be able to claim gifts. If it says no gift available, if you wait for like 12 hours, it usually adds a gift to that thank you. So that's another thing I haven't seen. You got your profile section here, which doesn't have too much going on. There's these trophies that I haven't gotten any of yet, and featured cards. It looks like there'll be emblems. Oh, this is a new one. So I haven't added that yet, but looks like there's going to continue to be more emblems, and you get a battle record here. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of everything. The battling system. Here, I can show you how to redeem a mission first. You click complete, and you get these reward tokens. So let's talk about a battle, right? So in the battle system, you have this solo section, which is basically just different AI events. And I will say it's nice that they have a bunch of different events in here. You start out with this step-up battle, this section, into the expert solo battle. Even if you beat this, there's other missions within them. So if you look here, win this battle with 1, 2, and 3-star rarity only, win this battle by turn 12, win this battle without your opponent getting points, etc. And you get these little shop tokens. So it does give you a little bit more incentive to go back and do the battles again. They're not that exciting, but it's a nice starter place. What I will say is this event came out where they added a solo battle here with Lapras event. They have another kind of gotcha thing where you have to spend a token to do the battle, which is, a little weird. But for example, this has actual rewards. In my opinion, a better reward system, right? Where you get a card, you get Stardust, and you get the points, and then you're able to do different tasks within here. These cards come from another set that's in the game I didn't really talk about, where there's a promo set. I don't even know how to view it in here. There's the promo set here. So there's 28 cards in this promo set as well. So there's technically 2 sets in the game, but in reality, there's still just one. So let's look at the battle system a little bit more. So there's the solo battles, which is just battling a computer. There's the versus battles. This is another thing they added, which changed my opinion. They added this, I think literally today, this event match system where it's a way to get emblems. It leans to me like they're trying to make some sort of ranked system, and it's heading that direction. But before, all there was the random match and private match. Private match is where you can play with anybody with a specific code. Random matches you play with anybody online. So we'll do a random match. I'll pull this Articuno deck, and we'll do a battle so I can show what's going on here. I will say, it's very similar to TCG. It's a much more slimmed down version, right? You don't have energy cards, but you have an energy pool. You have a limited deck of 20 cards. You can only do 2 copies of each card in the deck, and you go from there. Doesn't seem like there's a minimum or a limit on like how many Pokemon you can have. So for example, this deck only has 2, which is fine in this scenario. The other difference is there's only 3. Instead of prize cards, you have 3 points that you need to win. So you'll see them here. The one gripe that I have is there is a lot of RNG in this game. I'll show some gameplay where I have a card that's called Misty's, and if I get that in turn 1 and it flip a couple of coins in their heads, you can pretty much win immediately. There's a couple of cards like that in here. There's not as many as that Misty example. But here, we're playing a supporter card. We can only play 1 per turn, like the regular game. And we can attach 1 energy per turn from the pool. So I attach an energy. I can't do anything else here. And we will end the turn. I can play as many item cards as I want from my hand, but usually, like in this situation, I didn't need to. There's a couple of good decks going around. This Articuno one is doing decently in the tournaments they have on Limitless. There's a Pikachu Zapdos deck that's really good. I'll be honest here, in this game, I'm probably in a situation where I'm just going to lose quickly because he's got an Exeggutor out, and it already is attacking, and it's hitting heads. So this is a great example of sometimes it's just impossible to win RNG-wise. For example, I don't have another Pokemon out. What I would probably do here is attach. I'm going to use my potion, and I'm going to see. The thing is, I can now get another Pokemon out. In reality, he can retreat. If he's going to put Farfetch'd out, he could retreat and then come back into Exeggutor. So I might want to swing, but I'm never going to get through this unless I have Blizzard up. So it's kind of a tricky spot. I'm going to heal. I'm probably just going to Sabrina's here so I can show you what that looks like. Oops, it didn't play it. So he gets to pick a Pokemon to put out. There's a little bit of strategy involved. I will say it's a decent sized chunk of strategy, but there is a good bit of RNG as well. So him having Exeggutor, me not having Misty, it's going to be a hard matchup for me now. That's, I guess, one gripe that I have about it. Again, I will say when Pokemon first came out in base set, there wasn't a lot of nuance to it either, right? And so hopefully the extra additional sets bring that nuance. I do think it's going to be difficult to be very detailed and complicated game with only 20 cards, 2 sets of each, and 3 prizes. especially when an EX card is worth 2 prizes. You basically only get 2 Pokemon to get KO'd, and then the game's over. I'll say most games last 5 minutes. That's pretty much average for every game that I've played has been 5 minutes. So it is nice to have a shorter, more concise TCG format. So now in this situation, I grabbed the other Articuno with this Pokeball. And I probably just need to start putting energies on this Articuno because I can only do it once per turn. It actually, you know what? We will. Sabrina, we'll see what he brings out, and then we'll probably. That's actually good for us somewhat. If he misses his heads, we can attack again. We will make him shuffle his cards back into his deck, and then we will use our secondary attack, which does 10 damage to the bench. So the main reason I did all of that was if he misses his attack and I hit this twice, we win the game. If he hits heads here, we lose pretty handedly because I cannot accelerate energy to this unless we draw Misties. So this is a great example of a little bit of RNG here, right? We don't have a lot of card draw or card selection. Like in Pokemon TCG, you have Arven to kind of set up what you want in your hand. Here we don't have a ton of setup. We don't really have cards that are setting up our hand. We can set up our Pokemon that are on the bench, but we can't do much else. So I'd say that's kind of some of my gripes with it. We'll see this game play out, but you know, some of the pros with it are that it is a quick and accessible version of Pokemon. As long as the opponent isn't taking forever, which happens. It's a quick and accessible version of Pokemon that is nice. You can play it anywhere. You can play it if you're in a passenger seat in a car. You can play it in a doctor's office. It's a lot less of a time commitment up front. I do think that these 20-minute turn timers are a little excessive. It's not really necessary. But I think that is a pro over current TCG. Some of the cons that I will say, I think that going turn 1 is actually a huge detriment because you cannot attach energy turn 1. So what happens is you can put things out on the board. You can use a supporter turn 1, but if the opponent has a good setup in turn 2, they can knock out anything you've done. The only caveat to that is if the Misty's card would show up, I can show you. If you have a Misty's, you play Misty's, you can get all of your energy accelerated turn 1, you could win. That relies on too much RNG, and in my opinion, there needs to be a little bit of a balance change to turn 1, because even in Pokemon TCG, you can attach energy turn 1, you just can't attack. And I think that's a little more fair, because you go turn 1 and you end up behind on your energy attachments as the opponent is just attacking you. So in this example, we're actually going to win this game because he missed that heads that I discussed, and Articuno will come out, will attach an energy to it, and will attack, and will end. And this just kind of shows you how a game can go. This game was determined 100% by that heads tails flip RNG, because if he had hit flipped heads, we wouldn't have been able to use Blizzard, and this Articuno was not energized enough. So it's a good example showing my point of a lot of RNG in it. I don't see it being super, super competitive yet. Maybe the new sets will change that. One of the other pros to this is this client is a lot less glitchy than Pokemon TCG. I honestly feel like they have some sort of non-compete, because these are two different companies that have made this, and I feel like there's a non-compete between the two of them because TCG Live just doesn't get these quality of life updates that seem to be coming quickly to Pocket. It's a very usable interface. I haven't seen many glitches, if any. I really think that this could become a much better client, and to me it's a shame that they didn't take this approach with the regular TCG game. So let's get into some of my main thoughts. Obviously it needs more sets. It's new. It does have a lot of the mobile gacha stuff, which I'm not a huge fan of. It is fun though. I will say it is fun to play. It's not fun when you get bad RNG, but that's life. having matches with your friends should be a lot simpler because you can't just go to friends and battle them. You have to create a room and etc. There's originally one of the qualms that I had was there's no ranking, there's no ladders. There wasn't a ton of incentive to keep playing after you log in. You grab your pack and you do your mission and you leave. I think that they're adding some of that, they're changing some of that, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there. Another big thing that would be nice to have in game is tournaments. Right now, that's being done through Limitless, and thankfully that resource exists. Um, so that's kind of my overall feedback on pros and cons. I think the artwork is awesome. It's another thing we didn't really talk about. A lot of people in the collector side are really wishing these cards would come to physical copies. I mean, this Articuno is just a beautiful card. I really felt like they kept the artwork for this set. They kept some of the best artwork for this set, honestly. Even the EXs have some really cool artwork. They just did a great job overall with the art. Every artist should get a little bit of kudos here because there's not a bad card. Um, that said, overall for me, as somebody that likes to play the TCG, I don't really truly understand the point of having these two separate. I really feel like this would have been better as a different format for current TCG, where, like, if they wanted a quicker, more accessible game, just set up a different format. We have a standard format. All of this could have been done with existing Pokemon TCG cards. I know that there's balance changes and things like that, but it would be a step in the direction, and it would keep it where there's actually physical cards on top of the digital, and you could do it all in one client and have a way to bridge the gap between Pocket and into TCG, which is what I think they're trying to do. I think this is trying to get people into Pokemon TCG as a more accessible means. It's a little simpler to understand and it's quicker. But I would have loved to see it as a different format within the existing TCG. That said, to wrap all of this up, I do think there's a lot of people who will find enjoyment out of this, people that don't really want to sit down for a 20-minute game, or people that don't want to try to learn all of what exists within the current Pokemon TCG just to be competitive at it. I still play it, from time to time. I don't play it as much as I would play TCG, but I still think there is some space in the market for people to find enjoyment out of this. In terms of competitiveness, I don't really see it unless they make the new sets a lot more dynamic. There isn't a ton that brings me back to the app that makes me want to keep playing. Even Pokemon TCG Live, for example, has the ladder that you work towards getting different rewards, and your battles actually matter, whereas in here the battles don't matter as much. I'll end this by showing, I talked about that Misty card, so I'll show a video of some gameplay that I had earlier, where I was able to get Misties on turn 1, and really able to just steamroll the game. So for example, this was a game where turn 1, you can see I have this Misties card in hand. I play it to attach energy onto the Articuno. Turn 1, flip a heads. Now, here's where the RNG came. If this was 3 heads, I could Blizzard, immediately win turn 1. It wasn't 3 heads, so I get an attack turn 1. But now next turn I have an 80 attacker that's doing 10 damage to the bench every turn. It's pretty much impossible for the opponent to come back here. So I'm going to skip forward a little bit. So they're looking to set up their bench. They bench Articuno, Mewtwo, good cards. They switch out into their Articuno. I'm just drawing through cards. I attach an energy to my active. I put the other Articuno in my hand. I do not bench it yet because they could, gust it out. But there's a little bit of strategy going on here. But we're already, if I take one more swing into them with this Articuno out, I already win the game. And we're at minute 2. They evolve Curlia, so it knocks the HP down. They do a potion on Articuno. But again, I'm not doing a whole lot other than attaching and attacking here. So we attack again, and again, next turn, if they don't do anything, I win at minute 3. They're going to get, they attach some energy, they get the Gardevoir out, they attach some energy to Mewtwo. They're not able to do anything else this turn. So it looks like they what happened here? They were able to get Mewtwo out actually. So they attached. Oh, we're waiting for the opponent here. So they attached energy to the Articuno, and they switched. They must have used 2 X speeds to be able to switch. So they switched into Mewtwo. Good play on their part. They survive a couple more turns. But again, I just have the steamroll advantage. I just need to continue attacking. Because even if he's able to kill the active, I have a backup Articuno already. And he's used all of his heals. He's used his switches. He's used everything. So this is just an example. I go on. Even he's able to do all of his energy. He's able to set up. He's able to kill the first one. But the Misty's just was so powerful here. It steamrolls the rest of the game. And that's kind of how that goes when you have those games, right? Like if you get the card and you flip heads, you win, which isn't the most exciting gameplay for myself. Even if you win, it's not the most exciting gameplay, and for the people that you're going against, if they lose, same thing. It's not the most exciting gameplay to win by heads or tails, and that's, I think, my biggest gripe with the battle system is just the overall competitiveness. That said, I am positive for the future of it. It's kind of unfortunate that these resources aren't just going into making the TCG app better, because we all know it desperately needs that. But overall, I think it's a good idea. It's a fun game. I think it'll get more people into the TCG, which is always a good thing. And I mean, that's pretty much it. If you like these kind of things, you like a 5-minute match, you want to just play Pokemon quickly, then this is for you. If you want more strategy, want more tournaments, you're more of a competitive player, I don't see this supplementing Pokemon TCG. I don't see this supplementing VGC. But I do see a little subset of this existing. And if the sets come out and they have a little bit more nuance, then maybe we grow the competitive scene as well. But for now, it is what it is. Open packs, play some really relaxed games, and that's it. Hopefully you guys found some information here and you enjoyed watching this and learning from this, and it was helpful to some people that were on the fence on whether they wanted to commit the time and energy into it. I will say it's really difficult to get all of the cards, so if that's what you're going after, it's going to take a long time if you don't spend money. I will not be renewing my premium pass just because I don't need to open up 3 packs every day, for example, instead. I would like to get some other cards, but that's that. So if is that something you like, yeah, play it by all means. 5-minute matches. Otherwise, stick to TCG. And I would really like Pokemon to focus a little bit of resources on the current app for TCG because it's not that great. So anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you found some enjoyment out of this. Have a great day.